Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And my goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a specific film. So, the specific film I'm reviewing today is called The Man from Rome. This Catholic mystery is now available on streaming on sites like Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, and Vudu. The movie is rated PG-13 and is an hour and 40 minutes. And my movie review mom grade is a B plus. I actually really enjoyed it. I might be biased. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and other movie recommendations for films that I think you'll also enjoy if you like this one. Or if you like those, you might like this one. All right, let's get started. In a nutshell, the story is about a computer hacker who penetrates Vatican security and sends an urgent anonymous plea to the Pope. Handsome Father Court of the Church's Institute of External Affairs, an arm of the Vatican intelligence, is dispatched to investigate. The message of the hacker concerned a crumbling 17th century Baroque Catholic Church in the heart of Seville, Spain, that apparently kills to defend itself. The movie is based on the 1995 novel by Spanish writer Arturo Pérez Reverte. La piel del tambor is the name of the book, which means the skin of the drum. The film was directed by Sergio Dow, and writing credits go to Adrian Boll, Beth Bollinger, and Gretchen Cohen. The movie is set in Spain and uses many Spanish actors. However, the movie is actually in English. So let me share some of the things that I really liked about this movie. Some of the standout cast members include Richard Armitage, Paul Gilfoyle, Amaya Salamanca. I actually attended the University of Salamanca in Spain, so her name caught my eye. But her beauty did too. She's lovely. Alicia Borrachero, which means the drunk one. But I really liked her character. Franco Nero, Finula Flanagan, who's actually Irish, and Carlos Cuevas. Gives me a chance to practice my Spanish accent. So the opening scene was absolutely perfect, I thought, because it intrigued you and didn't give too much away at the very beginning. And then all of this was taking place in a beautiful Catholic church. So the movie, as I mentioned, is set in Spain, and I lived in Spain twice. And so that's why I'm thinking I might be a little bit biased because it was just really fun to be in Spain during this movie. One of the cities that I visited, that I didn't live in, but just visited, was Sevilla. And it's a beautiful city. And so I really loved revisiting it. We get to see a typical Spanish religious procession. I saw many of those, a flamenco show, beautiful buildings, architecture, and modern day Spanish life. The cinematography is just beautiful. The movie was released in Spain in October of 2022 and now is being released in the United States. Now it's available on streaming. There's some really fantastic close-ups, especially in that first scene, but it's also really nice to see an expanded view, so you get to see just some beautiful architecture. We also get to see some gorgeous Catholic churches and interiors in Spain, and we even get to visit the Vatican. Now, I'm not Catholic, but I absolutely respect all religions and faiths and appreciate their buildings and beautiful artwork. And the crux of the story is saving or raising an old Catholic church for various reasons. So I just thought that that was a really intriguing part of the story. There's also some lovely music throughout, as well as a really pretty Spanish song at the very end. Some of the characters are just instantly likable, like those played by Richard Armitage, Alicia Borrachero, and Carlos Cuevas. I just liked their characters from the get-go, which is good because you want to have people that you can root for in a movie, whether or not they're good or bad. No spoilers. And then is it just me, or did you also think that Victor Mayarino looks a little bit like a Spanish version of Ray Romano? Now, it could be because I just reviewed a movie with Ray Romano in it. You'll have to check that one out. It's called Somewhere in Queens. And then ultimately, the ending was really satisfying, I think, for various reasons. We learned the truth, all loose ends are tied up, and we learned a little bit more about faith and our belief, and a few other lessons, but I don't want to give you more spoilers. So there were only just a few little things that I didn't like or just thought could have been done better. For example, sometimes it's hard to understand what people are saying, not because of their accent, although some people who don't speak Spanish may have difficulty with that, but because in so many scenes that people speak so quietly, I kept finding myself leaning forward like, what? What'd they say? There are also a lot of things to read on the screen, such as cell phones, books, newspapers, that kind of thing. And they're all in Spanish with no subtitles. So the good news is that most of the time, the words really aren't crucial to the story. You're just seeing people look at things. Now, there are some text messages, but thankfully, those are in English. The fight scenes are particularly creative, and there are some fight scenes, which brings me to my tips for parents. Priests fight and kill other people. We see several dead bodies lying in a pool of blood. There is profanity, including one F-bomb. So I was like, wait a minute, is this going to be rated R? But it is PG-13. There is some violence with weapons as well as hand-to-hand combat. We see a man in the shower, but really just from the waist up. So no private body parts are seen. A priest kisses a woman, and I'm always like, no, don't do it. It's supposed to be this romantic moment, but I'm like, the guy gave his vows to God that he wasn't going to do that. And so I always cringe a little bit when that is portrayed in movies. And then let me tell you some of the themes that are illustrated really well. For example, faith, religion, power, greed, corruption, legacy, sacrifice, truth, sin, and absolution. And that was, I think, one of the things that I really loved at the very end, that last scene where I was just like, oh, and then good and evil and everything in between. So whenever I'm watching movies, I'm taking notes. I write down funny lines and interesting lines simply so that I can share them with you so you can kind of get a taste and a feel for the movie. So here are just a few of them. I always have them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. So there's a cute scene between Father Court, who's played by Richard Armitage, and he hands this other priest a gun, and the other priest is played by Carlos Cuevas. And so Father Court says, do you know how to use it? And the younger priest goes, I watch movies. And I just thought that that was sweet. And then actually another conversation that they have is that this younger priest is really got some good computer hacking skills. And so he's able to find some information for Father Court, who is doing the investigation. And so Father Court tells him, you're a saint. And he says, no, not yet, but I have my moments. And I thought that that was really cute. The movie is definitely not a comedy. It's definitely a drama, but there are a few little moments like that. And then I wrote down several interesting lines. I'll share just a few of those. For example, Father Court is talking to someone and he says, we all have pain that we have to live with. And then he continues that part of the conversation and he says, in time, wounds scar over and it makes us stronger. And I liked that element of the story, but also because it really gives us insight into who he is as a priest and what he's gone through in the past. All right, and I'll tell you one last one. This is spoken by a nun, and she's the nun that's played by Alicia Borrachero. And she says there's sin and then there's crime. And then they have an interesting conversation about that. All right, so before we go, let me give you some recommendations for some other films that I think you might be interested in. All of these have to do with the Catholic Church and some form of corruption. For example, the first one is called Doubt that came out in the year 2008 with some Academy Award winning performances. It's about a nun and the vows that she takes. Another more recent movie is called Spotlight that came out in 2015, and it goes deep into corruption and cover ups in the Catholic Church. Another one is called Silence, and it was very powerful. That one came out in 2016 with some incredible actors, some of my favorites, in fact. And then the last one is very, very different. Those ones take a look at the Catholic Church and the corruption and hopefully leave you with some faith. And then this last one is a brand new one that I just reviewed, I think maybe a month ago. It's called The Pope's Exorcist. And it's kind of a horror slash dark comedy about this priest who kicks evil's butt, basically. And it will probably have a sequel or two because of the way that it's designed and the way that it ends. And so you might get a kick out of that one for a very different feel. But watch my review of that one because there is some violence and creepy stuff and not a family friendly movie. I don't think kids will be interested in any of these movies, honestly. And again, I'm not Catholic, but I enjoyed all of them. And so you don't have to be Catholic to watch them or enjoy them. All right, that's it. Have a fantastic day. I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.